Well, even if it doesn't feel much like Christmas right now, with as warm as it is outside, tomorrow is Christmas Day. And I want you to think, whether you're young or old, think back on Christmases in the past, probably a little bit colder than this one, but think back on Christmases in the past and think about the best gifts you've ever gotten. The best Christmas gifts you've ever gotten. Now, for some of you, when you think back on Christmases past, you may think of a gift and you think, you know what, I remember this good gift I got. There's a couple different types of gifts. One, you get a good gift, right? A good gift is something that you wanted and something that you'd be kind of excited about. That's a good gift. I remember when I was younger, I'm one of 4 kids, and I remember when we were pretty young, my parents got us one of the Nintendo game systems, and that was a Christmas gift. It was an exciting day. We were all happy to open it and play it the rest of the Christmas break. We enjoyed that kind of gift. But some of you, when you think back on Christmases and the gifts you've gotten, some of you might think of some bad gifts. Anybody ever gotten a bad gift before for Christmas? It kind of makes you look like this a little bit, right? I was looking at some stories of some people who got some bad gifts, some things you might not want, something you'll never use, something you're not excited about. One guy said, when I was 8 or 9, my grandma gave me a Christmas ornament. It was a little stuffed angel with pink cheeks and yarn hair. He said, I cried because I had saved up my allowance to buy it for her the year before. That's a bad gift, right? Now, there was a girl who said, I got a set of miniature butter knives with ceramic fruit and vegetables as the handles from my aunt, who said I was so hard to shop for. I was 7 years old. That's what she said. Now, some of us have gotten some bad gifts. Some of us have got some good gifts, but there's kind of one category that I think is a little bit in between those. It's a practical gift. Anybody ever gotten a practical gift? My dad is the king of the practical gifts. Like I said earlier, I'm one of 4 kids. I'm the third of 4. And probably 10, 12 years ago, something like that, all of us were married, and we showed up at my parents' house in Utah, and we were celebrating Christmas, and it was time for all of us to open the gift from my parents. And my dad was really excited about it. So we all opened it at the same time, and this is what we opened at the same time. It's called the Of Glove. Not the oven glove, the Of Glove. And we were like, what in the world is this? He's like, oh, this is like the greatest oven mitt you could possibly imagine. And we're like, it's Christmas. Like, what are we doing here right now? But here's what happened. About 10 years later, and this is just even a few years ago, we checked and all of us still had the Of Glove, and we had used it plenty of times, right? So there's a practical gift that you're like, I don't know that I want it, but it works. And then there are the great gifts. The great gifts, the things that you get, you open it and you say, no way. What a gift. What a great gift this is. And usually it'll be something that you would never get for yourself, or maybe it was something that was way above and beyond what you could ever think to do for yourself. Now, Christmas, we know, is not about good gifts, not about bad gifts, practical gifts, or even great gifts. Christmas is about the greatest gift of all time. The greatest gift of all time, the birth of Jesus, the arrival of Emmanuel, God with us. Now, as a church family, this last month, we've been kind of preparing week in and week out. We'd set aside some time for each week to think about a different aspect of what the arrival of Jesus actually meant. And so the first week we talked about how the arrival of Jesus was a gift of hope, that in a hopeless world 2,000 years ago where they had lost hope, and just like today, where there's a lot of hopelessness, whether it's global hopelessness or individual. For you and for me, sometimes we just feel hopeless. The arrival of Jesus 2,000 years ago in our lives today, and what we look ahead to is a gift for you and for me of hope. The next is that it's a gift of love. The arrival of Jesus was a gift of love. So we spent a full week focusing on that as we prepared for the coming of Jesus, that it's a gift of love. John 3:16 says, God loved the world so much that he gave his one and only son. Because God loved you, he gave, and he gave the gift of his son, Jesus. The next week we focused on that it's a gift of joy. A gift of joy, that in a world that joy is consistently stripped from us, right? Because we can be happy based on things that are happening, and we're unhappy when things aren't happening well, but joy isn't shaken by any of those things. Joy is this deep fullness of our soul that can't be shaken by anything happening around us. And then the next week we talked about peace, and how peace is the stillness of the soul that can't be shaken by anything going on around us. And in this world that is chaotic and crazy, all of us need peace. And the arrival of Jesus was also a gift of peace for you and for me. If you're a parent in this room, I want you to know, as a parent myself, I've got 3 kids, kind of in between low teens all the way through young ones. I can tell you that this is a crazy time. It's hard to have peace as we're raising our kids, trying to raise kids in this world, in this culture, as crazy as it is. We can find peace only in Jesus. We can have peace on earth, peace in our heart because of what Jesus does. That's what we gather here for week in and week out, to encourage each other, to point each other toward Jesus, to grow in our relationship with him so that you and I can experience peace, so that your kids can experience peace. That's one of the reasons we gather here. That's what this season is about. But there's also 2 other things I want to point out about the arrival of Jesus. Before we do, we talked just a second ago, we got to watch the story of unfold. We read the story, Luke's account, the historical account, and we got to watch the little kids over here who stood there, Mary and Joseph and the sheep and the shepherds and the star. And the first hour of our Christmas Eve service, they all just stood there just like this. This one, finally we had somebody that was willing to shake a little bit, right? We had the star that looked like she was trying to get out of her suit a little bit. It was awesome. When my kids were younger, when my son was younger, he got to be Joseph one year for Christmas Eve, and he and Mary got in a fight on the stage. He was telling Mary, he's like, you need to put the baby in the manger. The baby is in swaddling clothes lying in a manger. And she's like, I want to hold baby Jesus. And so they got in a fight on stage. These kids were so much more well-behaved than my son was, but it was awesome to hear. We got to hear Luke's account, the historical account of all the things that happened. But for the next couple of minutes, I want us to look at what John describes, because he doesn't just tell us what happened. He tells us what the arrival of Jesus actually means. John chapter 1 says, in the beginning was the Word. He's talking about Jesus. He says the Word, Jesus was with God, and the Word was God. He was in the beginning with God. All things were made through him, and without him was not anything made that was made. In him was life, and the life was the light of men. He says, in him was life. Now, first of all, it says that everything was made through him. So he was the creator of life, right? He was the giver of life, and he's the sustainer of life. For you and I to be living, moving, breathing on this earth, it came because Jesus made us and gave us that opportunity. Now, just for a second, hang with me. Everybody just do this. Feel your pulse a little bit, all right? If you have one, that's a good sign, right? Like all of us have a pulse. Right now, we have biological life, but that's not what John was talking about. He says he created all this, but he says in him is life. And he's not just talking about life physically. He's talking about so much more. He's talking about this life to the full, this full, meaningful, real life. His ultimate purpose in writing was not so that men would have physical life, but that you and I would have spiritual life, that we would have full life. And you see that word over and over and over again in John's gospel. And he even says, I wrote these things so that you may believe in Jesus and have life in his name. Did you know that that kind of life, that full life, that meaningful life, hope-filled, purpose-filled, joy-filled, peace-filled life only comes in Jesus? And that's what John is talking about. This is the thing that lights up your life. And then he says in verse 5, the light shines in the darkness, and the darkness has not overcome it. Isaiah wrote about the arrival of Jesus about 600 years before Jesus came. Do you want to know what he said about it? It sounds similar. He says, the people walking in darkness, those living in darkness, those without purpose, without hope, without this kind of full life, he says, those walking in darkness have seen a great light. On those living in the land of deep darkness, a light has dawned. Now remember, he's prophesying. 600 years later, Jesus was born, but he's prophesying. So what is the light that dawned on people who are living in darkness? Verse 6, for to us a child is born, and to us a son is given, and the government will be on his shoulders, and he will be called Wonderful Counselor, Mighty God, Everlasting Father, Prince of Peace. John continues, he says, the true light, Jesus, which gives light to everyone, was coming into the world. That's the next thing. The arrival of Jesus is a gift for the world. The arrival of Jesus is a gift for the world. The true light, which gives light to everyone, was coming into the world. This is what it means that Jesus came, that it was a gift for the whole world. He says, and the Word became flesh and dwelt among us, and we have seen his glory, glory as of the only Son from the Father, full of grace and truth. This is the gift of Christmas. This is the greatest gift of all time. That our Heavenly Father stepped down out of heaven and came himself. This is the story of Christmas. This is the gift for the whole world. That changed everything. For all of history past, all of our current lives now, and all of history in the future, everything looking ahead in the future was changed in that moment when Jesus stepped down out of heaven to be born as a baby in a manger. It's a gift for the whole world. But there's one more thing I want us all to understand, and that is that the arrival of Jesus is a gift for you. It's a gift for you. Listen to what John 1:10 says. It says, he was in the world, and the world was made through him, yet the world did not know him. He came to his own, and his own people did not receive him. But listen, it says, but to all who did receive him, who believed in his name, he gave them the right to be called and to become children of God. It's a gift for you. It's really easy, I think, for all of us to say, you know what, the arrival of Jesus, yeah, it's joy to the world. It's a gift to the world. It's a gift for all of us. Yeah, Jesus came to save the world, right? God loved the world so much that he gave his only son. It's an easy thing to say that, but to understand that that reality shifts to being personal to you, that it is a gift for you, is the harder part. Now, hopefully tomorrow, under your tree or somewhere else, maybe you go to somebody else's house for Christmas, but for most of us, hopefully all of us in the room, there will be at least a gift that's for you. Not just gifts under the tree, not just gifts at Christmas, but a gift that is for you, a gift that has your name on it, that has a little tag that says your name. And here's what happens. You can have a gift that has your name on it, that's for you, that was purchased for you. And by the way, nobody opens a gift and says, how much do I owe you, right? We just say, thank you, right? Guess what? All those things can be true, that there's a gift that's for you, a gift that has your name on it, and a gift that is offered to you, but it does not become yours until you take it, until you personally receive it, until you open that gift. It doesn't become yours. And that's the same that's true of this gift that came when Jesus came 2,000 years ago. He came to save you and to save me because God loved you so much. He didn't want you to be separated from him. He didn't want me to be separated. And so because of that, not just for everybody around you, but for you, he came to reconnect with you, to say, hey, I know what they deserve, and I'm going to pay the price of death. So he sent his son Jesus to live the life that we should have lived, to die the death that we should have died, to pay the price that we deserved to pay so that you and I can be reconnected. And he rose again on the third day so that you and I can have life, life to the full, life in his name, forever in heaven with God, not separated from him forever. That's a gift, not just for the world. That's a gift for you. This is the story of Christmas.